Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hello, it's Adam here, and in today's episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a sponsored episode. So normally the sessions that I put out on the podcast are either from the interesting ones that I've done with clients that I think would benefit other people above and beyond just the client I'm working with, or sometimes just experimental stuff that I'm doing. So maybe the random hypnosis or ones based on movies or books. When I do a sponsored podcast list episode, it's really based on a brief from a client. So they will let me know what they want from the episode and certain key ingredients. And this episode is actually requested by a daughter who wanted an episode for her mum, who was, let's say, slightly older in life and wanted something to really tap into, memories where it was really compelling for her. So we're talking about things like her honeymoon and liking to travel and things like that. But also she loves to garden. So this hypnosis episode is going to be to tap into those emotive parts of her life. But I have a feeling that because some of these things are going to be interwoven with metaphors and very powerful suggestions and lots of principles about positivity and regeneration and nature, I think it will be very beneficial for lots of people. And that was the intention from this lovely woman that I spoke to, that the episode would be useful for her mum, but she wanted it to be useful for a wider audience as well. So there's going to be levels to this recording. People familiar with my podcast will know that I like to have almost the equivalent of nested loops or levels within levels, and you'll certainly experience that in this hypnosis session. So find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in a feeling of calm and relaxation, and as you exhale, get a sense that feelings of stress or worries or tension are leaving your body. That's it. And you may notice that as your eyes close, you are even better able to focus your attention on the sound of my voice. Being able to direct your attention gives you the ability to allow your body to go to such deeper levels of relaxation that you can't help but notice that where there was tension before is already starting to relax and dissipate. Continue to breathe in and breathe out. But I wonder what it would be like if you use the power of your imagination to imagine that when you breathe in, you're breathing in a glowing light. A light that represents vitality, vibrancy, and health. Sometimes it's useful to imagine this as a glowing white light. that as you breathe in through your nose, just use that imagination to imagine glowing white light going in. And interestingly, I wonder what would happen if, on the outward breath, you use the infinite power of your imagination to imagine that things that are no longer serving you, things that aren't useful for you, are leaving you on the outward breath. Bright glowing light going in, and maybe you can see something darker or grayer, shadowy perhaps, leaving you on the outward breath. Your body already knows what you need. And sometimes tension is useful. Sometimes stress is useful. Even worries are useful if they help you to prepare for the future. But right here, in this moment, none of those things are necessary. So as you breathe in that glowing white light, pay attention to feelings of tension leaving your body. Sometimes it's useful to appreciate just how much our imagination is linked directly to intuition and the power of the subconscious mind. Throughout your life, you've had moments that you can't explain. Just a feeling, a sense, an idea pop into your head that was necessary for that particular moment in time, and you can't explain it. Because the unconscious mind can process so much more information, tap into all your memories, all your experiences. And therefore, as you start to imagine darkness leaving your body on your outward breath, your unconscious will intuitively know that this is whatever is no longer meant to be there. That may be stress and worries and tension, but it may be something else. Something that is no longer desirable for you. It could be emotional, but it could be something else. Breathe in that healing white light, and on the outward breath, continue to see that darkness leave your body. And as you do that, as more and more tension leaves your body, it's just a natural side effect, a ripple effect, that you become more and more relaxed. And as you become more relaxed, as your body relaxes, your mind becomes more alert. And as your mind becomes more alert, your imagination becomes even more powerful. So powerful, in fact, that you can imagine a beautiful garden. Not even your garden. I want you to imagine the most beautiful garden that your imagination can conjure at this particular time. Maybe an old house with a large garden, or whatever garden comes to your mind. And I want you to imagine seeing this garden from above, almost from a bird's eye view, and see yourself in that garden. And then imagine what it would be like seeing a younger version of you walking around that garden. I want you to remember a time in your life where you felt full of energy, vitality. A time where emotionally you were good, physically you were good, mentally you were good. And see that version of you walking around this beautiful garden. And then, from that bird's eye view, just imagine what it would be like for you to now be in the body, that younger version of you walking around this incredible garden. And there you are, now in this body, no longer your own body that's somewhere else with your eyes closed, breathing deeply. Right now you're in this younger body, in this beautiful garden. And as you look around, there is so much going on in this garden. Impressive trees, beautiful flowers, manicured lawns. But there's also an area where things are being grown. Perhaps vegetables or fruits. And I want you to walk to that part of the garden. And I want you to see that while everything else in the garden is beautiful and well cared for, this place where things are being grown is in need of assistance, help. You can see that things are growing there, but there are weeds and plants that shouldn't be there. It's overgrown. And I want you to get a sense, intuitively, that you want to make things right here. The weeds, the plants that shouldn't be there, are representing anything undesirable, anything unwanted. And as you start to pull those weeds out, notice that you pull them out from the roots. If there's plants there that shouldn't be there, you do it in a way where you're not just snipping the stem, you're getting it out from the roots. And before long, this area where fruit and vegetables are growing, it looks cared for, like you've regenerated an area where before those vegetables were overwhelmed with other things, and now it seems like balance is restored. And you now know that those plants that you want to grow will now have access to more sunlight, more of the nutrients in the soil, and therefore they will grow stronger and better than if they were left there with all those weeds or other unwanted things. But somewhere in this area, I want you to see what could be a beautiful tree. But this tree has not been looked after either. As you look at this tree, you can see that many of the branches are rotten, perhaps diseased, perhaps infested with insects or parasites. And I want you to see that in your hands you've got whatever is necessary, whatever tools are necessary to start pruning this tree. As you snip away those rotten branches and break away those things that are trying to sap the resources of this plant, this tree, you notice that before long, what was a tree that looked neglected was trying to support these branches that just couldn't do what they wanted to do. And then imagine that after you've pruned it, nurtured it, cared for it, it now looks like a regenerated tree. And imagine that within your imagination there is no sense of time. So imagine that it reaches a point where this tree is now growing fruit. It wasn't able to do it before, but it can now. And I want you to get a sense that everything has a function, everything has a purpose. Every plant, every animal. And at some level, this tree is there to create that fruit. And I want you to imagine it's whatever your favorite fruit is. And I want you to find the ripest of all these fruits, the one that looks the most delicious. Imagine picking it from the branch, biting into it, feeling the texture, perhaps even the juices of this particular fruit, and accepting the suggestion that this is fruit of regeneration. You already experience this sense of youth because you are in a version of you that feels youthful. But now eating this fruit gives you a sense of regeneration. Many of the ancient philosophers knew that there are certain foods that heal and replenish. And in doing so, I want you to get a sense that you're giving your body whatever it needs right now to be whatever is the best possible version of you that it can be. And when you finish the fruit, I want you to see that there is seeds that remain. And I want you to imagine planting those seeds in this beautiful garden, knowing that whatever happens to that tree, the legacy of that tree is that seeds have been planted that will be there way into the future. And then imagine walking to a different part of that garden. And I want you to imagine there is a gazebo, or perhaps some kind of structure surrounded by beautiful roses and flowers, and in there is a swing. Not a children's swing, but a large swing. Enough for 2 or 3 people, but you can feel comfortable on that swing, surrounded by these beautiful flowers, and just imagine swinging back and forth. And sometimes when people feel relaxed in a garden, they go inside their imagination, and I want you to do that now. As you imagine being there, feeling your body motion back and forth, just allow your imagination to travel into your past, perhaps, or into your imagination, where you think of times where you were traveling. The kind of traveling you used to love to do. Perhaps driving, or traveling on a train. And there's something about a journey that unlocks excitement. You're no longer where you are, but you haven't reached your destination yet. And there is a sense of that motion, just like life. Sometimes the journey is so much more important than the destination. You need the destination just to give a focus, a purpose to your travels, but sometimes the most beautiful or surprising things are the things you didn't plan to see or do, but just happened on that journey. And you're not interested in the traditional tourist way of doing things, going on busy planes to busy hotels. Notice that on this journey, it's all about nature. And if you imagine that you're driving, imagine the views that you could see. Perhaps forests, mountains. Imagine that you've got whatever you need around you. This vehicle can be as big as you want it to be. It could be a car, but it could be a train, it could be a bus, it could be a big van. But imagine that you've got the things and the people that matter most to you here on this journey. And in your imagination, they can be of any age, and you can be of any age. In reality, there is always a difference in time. But here in your imagination, you can be the age that you felt the most adventurous, the most connected to nature, and you can have the people around you at the age you want them to be. See their faces, feel how it makes you feel. and see your surroundings. And get a sense that traveling unlocks so many resourceful feelings within you. You feel that warm, fuzzy, cozy, comfortable feeling while you're looking through the window and seeing those incredible landscapes. Maybe you can see the mountains of Colorado. Maybe you can get a sense that the Pacific Ocean isn't too far away. This is your imagination. It doesn't have to link to real geography. It's just what you want to see and what you want to experience. And perhaps you can imagine driving down the Pacific Coast Highway, maybe all the way from California to Oregon, and imagine stopping at places that remind you of precious times. I want you to imagine seeing nature, spending time with people. Imagine having the conversations that you could never have, but are having now. Say what you want to say, hear what you want to hear. Sometimes stress can be caused from unfinished business, and sometimes it can be caused by a sense of things that need to be resolved. But here in your imagination, you can tie up any loose ends. You can resolve any issues. Whatever needs to be said can be said, and whatever needs to be heard can be heard. And it's all done in a beautiful way, a flowing way, where you're just left with a feeling of love and gratitude and appreciation. And then up ahead you can see a sign for a beach, perhaps a beach that you can remember. Imagine that this vehicle pulls up, and I wonder what it would be like to get out of that vehicle and find yourself on one of those beaches. I want you to get a sense that there you are. Maybe you're alone, or maybe you're with the people that you want to be on that beach with you. But I want you to get a sense that this is a beach of regeneration. Nature, the fresh clean air, the sea, the sand, perhaps seeing cliffs or rocks or whatever this beach is in your mind. I want you to see that some things are ageless. The sand could be millions of years old, but it evolves, composed perhaps of shells that used to belong to creatures that have long since gone but now ground down to the sand beneath your toes. The ocean, composed of all those minerals, is constantly evolving. And here on this beach, I want you to imagine that you're feeling reconnected with your youth, with your spirit, with a sense of optimism and hope and youth. I want you to get a sense that in all things there's a cycle. The tide goes in and out. The day goes from daytime to nighttime. The seasons constantly changing. And some things, they never end, they just evolve into the next chapter, the next phase of that cycle. I want you to get a sense that you here in this place are connected to yourself, to the people around you, but also to nature. And I want you to really get a sense of that growing gratitude within you. I want you to think right now, here on this beach, just how grateful you can be. And locate where in your body you feel that gratitude. And wherever you feel it, expand it. Maybe it's memories within memories that come to your mind that create that powerful feeling of appreciation and gratitude. Or maybe it's just a connection with knowing what you've contributed, what impact you've had. And maybe you're just grateful for all those precious memories that you've got to experience in your life. And as you look up at the sky, above the horizon of the sea, I want you to get a sense of what you hope for your future, or the future. What vision comes to mind? What would you like to see happen as the days turn into weeks, turn into months? What would you want to happen? And a vision for the future doesn't have to be reality. A vision for the future can be an intention, a desire, what you would like to be the case. You feel at peace. Here on this beach, you feel connected to yourself, to the people around you, but also connected to hope, gratitude, and positivity. As you look around you, perhaps thinking or seeing those people that matter most, I want you to imagine giving them a hug so they get to enjoy your feeling of positivity and hope and optimism. And then it's time. It's time to leave this beach. But you leave this beach with a feeling of warmth and positivity and optimism. As you realize this is just your imagination taking you on a journey. And this imagination of being on a beach came from driving down the coast, which came from a memory, perhaps while you were swinging on a bench there in a beautiful garden. And in that beautiful garden, you can see that tree. See that tree there with that fruit, knowing that because what you've done to that tree will mean that this tree continues to make fruit for a long period of time. As you look at those vegetables, you know that they will continue to grow and flourish because of the impact that you've had. As you then become aware that even the garden within this youthful version of you is just ideas within ideas, thoughts within thoughts, dreams within dreams, and actually, you're listening to my voice right now, firmly in the present. You are in your body, in the moment, listening to me now. And very soon I will count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken feeling hopeful, optimistic. You will awaken feeling rejuvenated, regenerated, focusing on what's right in your life and just forgetting what isn't good. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.
So just stopping the podcast recording there. I normally do a little bit extra on the YouTube videos just to kind of explain what was going on there. But effectively, this was an episode designed all about hope, youth, tapping into really powerful memories and gratitude. I hope you found that useful. Obviously, it was designed for someone specific in mind. But I'd be curious to know, did you get something of value from that? Did it help you in some way? What memories did you access as you were thinking back to a time when you were youthful? Did you get anything from being in that garden? Did you get any insights or realizations? If you did, please put them in the comments. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the show, because that helps the YouTube algorithms just enable my stuff to get to audiences that might really benefit from this kind of way of thinking or changes. Thanks again. And if you've got any suggestions for any future episodes, please put them in the comments, because I always get notified when any comments come up. So thanks again, and see you soon.